I had read a magazine back in high school when I was about 15 or 16. I think it was called, uh, it was either the Coronet or the Pageant. It was sort of like a Reader's Digest with illustrations. And there was an article about a guy called Bill HAAST. And he was the founder and organizer of the largest venom production place in the whole world, called Miami Serpentarium. I just had to go there. I said, man, I got to meet this guy, and this is the kind of thing I want to do when I get back to India. I'd already figured that out. That was pretty obvious what I was going to do, and that would, even from then. I got to Miami, again, hitchhiking. And the first thing I did was check in at a motel right next to the Miami Serpentarium, and walked over there and asked if I could meet Bill HAAST. And the guy at the desk said, no, he doesn't meet people, and he's a very busy man, and so on and so on. The guy was pretty friendly. And I went around the Serpentarium, got to see HAAST extracting venom from cobras and stuff like that. And it was very exciting. But he wouldn't meet my eyes, and I couldn't speak to him. In fact, people, later on when I started working there, people say, is he deaf or something? Because people try to talk to him, and he would just concentrate on what he's doing. He wouldn't answer. He wouldn't listen to basically what people were saying, which I found out later is a pretty good thing to do when you're handling venomous snakes. Don't get distracted. I've seen so many people handling snakes. Yeah, what are you saying? It's just the wrong thing to do. So, but when I came back out, I talked to this guy, Bruce, his name was, I remember, very nice young guy, who said, you seem to be very interested in snakes. And I said, yeah, I've been interested all my life. And I was brought up in India, and he was very interested to hear some stories about India. He said, are you looking for a job? And I said, I don't know. It depends on what kind of job. And he says, well, the guy who takes tours here at the Serpentarium just quit, and they're looking for somebody. You could get a job here. And it was just like, huh? And I said, well, how do I go about doing that? And he says, just a minute, I'll on the intercom, he called Mrs. HAAST, Bill HAAST's wife, Clarita. And he said, there's a young man here who's interested in and is experienced with snakes, and he may be looking for a job. Would you be interested in interviewing him? And I heard her voice coming over. She said, yeah, send him in. And I went into the office there, probably trembling at that stage. And, sort of made sure that I looked fairly decent. I think I had a clean T-shirt on at least. Maybe my jeans were a bit faded and ripped, but I looked reasonably presentable. And she gave me a very quick interview and said, what's your experience, and this and that. And she was also very interested that I was raised in India and that I had experience with Indian snakes and stuff like that. And she said, look, we can't give you a permanent position, but we can try you out for a week. And if you'd like to, please come on Monday. I think it was a Friday or a Saturday. Please come on Monday and start and be here at 8 o'clock. And I said, wow, sure. And that's when it started. That's my career for the next 2 years started then. And now that night I went down from the motel. It was just a close walk to this steakhouse. I went and had the biggest T-bone steak. It was expensive, but I said, to hell, man, I got a job, And the job was paying $65 a week. And, as a merchant seaman, I was making a couple of $100 a week. And I said, I didn't say anything except in my head, this is not a very lucrative sort of job, but would they give me a place to stay? And sure enough, they gave me a place to stay with one of the other guys working there, who became a very dear friend of mine, Hayward Clamp. They had an apartment in the back of the Serpentarium, which we shared. And that was the beginning of 2 years of very intense work and learning what basically became my profession. And I'm learning from a real guru Bill Haas had a work ethic that he could transfer to somebody who is as interested as he was, and I felt that I was as interested. And that I'm not bragging, but I think that work ethic did pass over to me, and I've got this go-gettedness that just won't stop. If I'm interested in something, I'll pursue it and make it happen. And that's helpful too for the people who work for me too, because those who stick with it, they make it, and those who can't take it, they flake off and do something else. That's fine. So I was really lucky to work for a person like that and learn so much. And it was pretty obvious that I should do something similar to what he's doing back home in India, because nothing like that existed in India. There was no snake park. There was no positivity about snakes here. Everything was negative. Well, okay, there was religion, and people do worship cobras, which is extremely helpful from the conservation side of things. But there was no one doing any research and or venom production except for Hafkin Institute, which was doing it for production of antivenom. So it was basically waiting for me to come back and make it happen.